Oh yeah. What is up guys, my name's MVPerry and today I'm going to be talking about the 9 types of anime villains. There are a lot of different types of anime villains and there probably are more than just 9, but these are the 9 I could think of that are the most common. The first type of anime villain is the average bad guy. This is the kind of character who has predictable reasons for being bad, like money or power or taking over the world. Maybe they have an evil laugh too. You know, the stupid evil laughs, things where it's like, whoa. It's actually really annoying, but there's always the average bad guy, probably the main villain in most filler arcs, or anime with younger audiences in mind. The next anime villain is the ultimate evil. Now this is a villain who's actually evil. Like, unlike the last guy, this guy is actually from hell. This kind of character has no mercy at all. Uses everyone and everything. Once they're done with you, they just dispose of you. And they don't even really have a backstory. They're just evil since birth. Perfect example of this would be Dio from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I mean, he's literally the embodiment of evil. The next anime villain is the Bodyguard. The Bodyguard is like the mini boss before the final boss. And they are actually very powerful. Like, they're not like some stupid henchmen. They are a threat to whoever the hero of the story is. An interesting thing about the Bodyguards is even though they're bad guys, they're also very honorable. And they do everything they can to protect the main villain. Well, sometimes. There's other times when they're protecting the main villain because they actually have some ulterior motive. And they're trying to use them in the meantime. Next type of anime villain is the sheep in wolf's clothing. So they look like a villain, act like a villain, and is a villain until their death or until their true intentions are found out. Itachi is an example of this from Naruto. He slaughtered his entire clan and a bunch of other bad things. He was actually trying to protect Sasuke all along. So that's the special thing about the sheep in wolf's clothing, is that you think they're the bad guys, but actually there's a whole reason for it. Of course, they're not perfect, and sometimes they'll end up doing a lot of evil acts for the greater good, and that's kind of the reason why they're still on this list, because they still do some evil things. Next type of villain is the hero, and that's hero in quotations, because the hero thinks of themselves as a god and they think they're doing the right thing. They always have this superiority complex and a lot of pride issues, and they'll say stupid things like, I'm going to save the world by destroying it. Light Yagami is an example of this, but there's many other examples, and this happens to a lot of villains because the power corrupts them even further until they think that they're divine or that they're above humanity as a whole. The next villain is the Psychopath. They're literally just insane, and they will kill people in creative ways. Ways that I shall not name on this video, because I wish to stay monetized. These kind of characters don't really have any empathy towards anyone, and they don't care if it hurts you or not. And they're willing to do all sorts of messed up stuff. Yanderes would probably fit in this category too, because they are just psychotic to be with the one that they love. Next anime villain is the tragic villain. And the tragic villain is kind of a sad story. The whole thing is that they're evil now, but at one point, they used to be good. And maybe if things were different, they might be good right now, but because of how events turned out, this is what it's led to. It's hard because, you know, you do feel bad for them, and you wish they were just on the good side, and in some ways, you can't exactly say they're wrong about some of the things they do. Their tragic past, in some ways, does justify how they are. One of the next ones is the Lovable villain. The Lovable villain is kind of like a joke more than an actual villain. They're technically bad guys, but we all love them. They're pretty much just something for us to laugh at, sometimes maybe like comic relief. Team Rocket, Jesse James, Meowth, you know, that kind of thing. They're not actually any real threat. They do still do bad things like steal stuff or make trouble for the heroes. Okay, so last but not least for our anime villains list is the Killing Machine. And the Killing Machine has no emotions at all. It's like a robot. They're not even necessarily trying to do something bad. It's just how they are. They're just built that way. Sometimes it's an alien. Sometimes it's an animal that doesn't even know any better. Or sometimes it actually is a robot. In some ways, QB was like a killing machine, even though he wasn't the one going around killing everyone. He was making the girls sign the contracts knowing exactly what was going to happen to them, but he didn't really see it as a problem. So in his eyes, he wasn't really doing anything wrong. By the way, I'd like to give a big shout out to Yumekai, who drew the art for this video. Really recommend checking her channel out. I'm not even kidding, she has the potential to be one of the next big YouTube animators. So let's try to get her to at least 1,000 subs, huh? What is your favorite type of anime villain? Comment down below. As always, my name's MVPerry, and I'll see you in the next video.